Good morning. How you guys doing today? All right. I'm just trying to kind of square away what we got going on here. Okay. So it is August. I can't plant quite just yet. I don't think I can, at least. Let's take a quick peek and see if we can. Winter barley. I can't plant that until next month, and that's fine. I was a little bit distracted yesterday, you guys. My nephew was having heart surgery. He came through the heart surgery. Okay, I haven't gotten any updates as of this morning on him, but last night my sister said he was full of sass, which means he's pretty normal, but he was in a lot of pain. I mean, basically, they split his chest open, put him on a bypass machine, stopped his heart, did 5+ hours of surgery, but the procedure that they were hoping to accomplish is exactly what they did. And he is hopefully on the quick road to recovery. Oddly enough, so this is what I always kind of um, his restrictions and limitations are going to be for 4 weeks. That's it. Um, then it's back to work. He is I always find it a little bit silly or a little ironic that the uh, kid with a heart condition is an apprentice electrician. Like, I just going for the jump start. But no, he really enjoys what he does. Um, he'll be 21 years old tomorrow, so I'll be sure to wish him a happy birthday. I pretend to be sleeping as much as possible. There'll be some uh, instances where um, you know, you'll get vitals checked all throughout the night. There'll be incidental um, nurses will incidentally brush up against him, pretend to be sleeping, don't make things weird. But I am very, very relieved that he came through uh, with so far very little issue. Might get to see him this weekend. I'm hoping to get to see him this weekend. Um, Got to give him a little bit of. He and I, we like to mess with each other. He is my godson, so I like to mess with him. He likes to mess with me. I usually come out ahead, but I mean, I've got a few extra years on him, so that should be expected. Oh, gonna have to go turn off my kid's iPad. He is gone to school, and I shouldn't have to listen to his garbage. All right. Well, looks like we earned $46,553. It's actually a good amount of money. I don't know how much that plot of land is. I want to buy this one. It's 60 grand. I have ideas. All right. Well, we've sold all the eggs, made about 70 grand actually. Pretty good. All right, I am going to purchase this plot. I may increase this and have a massive field. I just haven't decided yet. All right, you got that done. And I don't know. I'm gonna make separate fields, I think. Good morning. How you doing today? I do want to stop at the new land that I just purchased. Right here. Oh, and I've got stuff to get rid of. I already have my own farm, so we're gonna sell that. Sell the grain silo. What do we got left? I don't care about decorations. And an old shelter. You know, the old shelter I might leave. All right, so we've got that all taken care of. I can drop this off because my eggs are already picked up. I feel like this could go here. Right. So I'm kind of having a new internal debate. I have plans, you guys. I do have plans. I'm just moving things around. I have an idea, actually. Um, Thinking I want to put in a grass field over there, a big grass field. So I am thinking I want to. I have such a. I have an idea for this piece of land, but I need. So the intended plan is I'm going to make this into a grass field. I'm going to ultimately get rid of the other grass field and divide that land up into like 3 fields. Uh, this way I can have a larger grass field. I can increase the size of uh, my animal holdings. So I'm thinking that my grass field will actually, I haven't decided what kind of grass. I want something, I don't really want like meadow grass. But my grass field's gonna basically go up along here. And we'll probably, I'm not sure how far over I can go, but I do want to have a large grass field, so this is actually larger than what I'll do for a field. I'm gonna basically go up to the edge of my pond and take it all the way up through that section there. Gotta see what the update is. really just trying to figure out where I want like fields to go. I should have marked them out before I started mowing, if I'm being honest. So the big thing will be, let's get it all uh, let's get everything processed. Good morning. How are you doing today? I'm on green countryside and I'm just clearing off. I'm gonna make a new grass field. So but I'm a cheapskate, so I want to collect all the grass that I can. Because that's how I roll. I learned from Northern Farm Sim. I think what we'll wind up doing is kind of cutting our field. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of text messages. My nephew had open heart surgery yesterday. Uh, he is going to be 21 years old tomorrow. It was something that we've known his whole entire life, but it's still kind of it's a big ordeal. He'll need to have a heart transplant, but this is if you didn't know anything, if you've never experienced anything about transplant lists and stuff, you're basically you if you get one, you get one, and that's it. So at 20 years old, getting a new heart, that new heart could be 60 years old, and um, it's just, a 60-year-old heart, that's a kind of a uh, limited window, you know, 20 years, you get one, right? So he's trying to prolong it till he's, 40, 35 years old, 40 years old, uh, pushing it off as far and as long as humanly possible. So our field that we're getting ready to create is gonna kind of go up between those trees, and um, I'm gonna be starting to place roads in places. Uh, and I'm doing that because roads will be super useful. So we are gonna add a um, what's up?
So I called this person.
Were they having sex while when you called them?
No.
Okay.
Now that call it that. Never call them back after I tell you who I was. I told you to quit calling here.
Okay.
You fine.
Did they though? Maybe that's a fraud alert. Maybe it's a person that didn't and someone else has their information.
Well, they have their phone number then too. I mean, maybe if the fraud knew our phone number.
I'm just saying. I'm thinking outside the box. So the biggest problem that I'm going to have is, like I said, determining where I want my fields to be placed. I don't really want to do a lot of timber work. I will cut down the dead trees or the damaged trees, I guess, but I want to keep these like forests. I like them. I like them a lot. To me, they add a lot of like character to the game, and I don't want to lose that. And when you do a sandbox style farm, and as you're building the farm, the goal isn't like creating fields, setting them in stone. They're never going to be set in stone from the beginning because your first plot of land, you've got to remember that your first plot is where you're earning your money. All right, it's going to always be evolving, I guess, until you've managed to, like what we've done here is we've purchased 2 additional plots. So now our original plot has evolved and it's kind of set up how it's going to, you know, um, but it's not a completed thing. Yeah, our yard is pretty much set, and eventually maybe I'll, do something different with it. But for right now, I think the yard is actually functional and I like it. Um, but I only have intentions of purchasing one more plot. So uh, this is going to become a mineral plot, actually, you guys. So um, and that was the purpose behind purchasing this plot was I wanted to uh, um, I wanted it to become a resource center. So I am going to put down a quarry. I have not decided if I'm going to do oil or coal. I've never done, honestly, I've never done any of the three. So when I do them, I'm going to start slow. I'm not going to go crazy. One of the things I thought about is because I have that one field that's really narrow and it goes in between all those trees. Eventually, that may I may turn that into like oil rigs, so I can drill for oil on that narrow strip that's currently sunflowers. And like I said, that's part of the whole evolution of a farm. When you do sandbox style, what you start with, probably not what you're going to end up with. If you guys follow myself in DiVerno, Burn Nugget, or as I call him, Nugget. I also know him by his real name too, but um, if you follow that one, we have a head-to-head, challenge that we're doing, and it's competitive. But ultimately, what we have started is not what we're going to have at the end. All right. So this one here, if we go to our map mode, um, and I show you what we have. We've got this little strip right here, basically from here to here. All right, it's a little triangle that's um, kind of wedged in here. And my thoughts are eventually I want to own this piece of property here. And I could do that now. And as a matter of fact, I am going to do that now. Okay. Because my yard is right here and my yard's really not big enough. So I want to check to make sure I've got this field done. Alrighty. So yeah, my objective will be um getting this field here created. All right, there's going to be a field here. The grass field will be over here, right? But up here, I've got these trees I've got to clear out, like all these um, chopped up ones from storm damage. I do want to get those. But there's this section where it's really narrow here and it's kind of a pain. So I thought maybe this would be a good spot to eventually place um, a working oil field. And that's kind of my goal there. So I'm not really going to do much. Like I'm going to harvest this and then I'm going to put in some roads and then this is actually going to become a full-on field right here. Uh, and then starting at this point, this is going to become a grass field following this area here, right? And we're basically going to take it right to there, drive it down this way, and cut back right about here where the pond ends, and then follow it up and around uh, this, going back over to this little plot here, and it'll follow in this little narrow area. So that's the objective for this section, and it'll take a little bit of time, guys. Um, this is where I wanted to do a stone quarry, maybe eventually do um, like right here on this rock face. I'd like to do a stone quarry. I'd also like to maybe even get into a coal mine somewhere over here. I think that would be really kind of cool. But yeah, that's my current um, layout, and I do want to extend my yard. Like I'd really like to, uh, you know, bring my yard out this way more towards those trees and encapsulate those trees more into my yard and maybe swing it back this way and increase the size of it. I mean, it's not small, but when you consider that I've got 4 plots and each plot is 16.9 acres. So, I mean, we're sitting on what is that? 58 acres, almost 59 acres. And that's not a lot of land for a farm, but it's making a lot of money. Um, in this whole yard, like we're going to be changing that up. So can't wait for that to actually happen. The only field we're actually going to plant this year is going to be this one, and it's going to be probably put into, well, and we'll replace our grass. But like I said, our grass field's basically going to encompass this area here, move down to right about there, come back. But I want to increase this area here. I'm actually thinking about kind of basically doing a cut down right through here, making two large fields. This will right here be added to this. So I'll have one field here, one field here, a big field here, another field here, right? Then I'll have this be my new grassland. And I will still have, um, I may actually take it all the way to there, right? Like take it all the way around here. And then I'll turn this into a larger field. And then I'll have this entire section. I'll probably make 2 additional fields out of that. And that's kind of where we are with how our property is going to look going forward. So what I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to put the spreader away. I'm trying to figure out, okay, I do have a regular rake. I was like, what am I going to do? So I've got all these grass bales, right? It's not working for me. What I'm thinking is ultimately I'm going to change how I do my grass. And I do want to see what was available for square balers. I don't remember what I put in here. If I put anything inexpensive, I do have the John Deere. I did not put in the Crone. but we can't afford that. But I can, you have to excuse me for a moment. I can make a plan, and we're going to. All right, we are going to go grab our trailer. Normally I wouldn't buy the small square baler, um, but I have ideas. I get ideas sometimes. And the reason I want to get the small square baler, it's kind of silly, but um, I can make adjustments. Hey, Bacon, trip was good. Um, we we drove all the way to Fort Myers. So I'm central part of Michigan, and we drove to Fort Myers, Florida, but we did it in we split it up because well we have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, and um, my 9-year-old was generally speaking he had to go to the bathroom every 45 minutes. Uh, we got to a point where we're like, nope, you're hydrated enough. Not I'm not doing this anymore. But trip was good. We had a good time. Got to see uh got to see some alligators. We got which was cool. We got to see dolphins, which is cool. My kids got to do a little bit of fishing. They enjoyed that. Um, I'm not sure if you've gone down there. We got to go to the uh, out into the Gulf because Fort Myer Beach goes right down to the Gulf. We had dolphins come in onto up close to the beach, probably within 20 yards of the beach, and we got to see them. That was really cool actually, because they were coming in, they were pushing the um, snook into the shore so that they could trap them and eat them. And then, like about half a mile out, there was a pod of dolphins that we got to see. So it was cool on that front. Um, I'm not a huge beach person by any means, but uh, still fun. Ooh, I just Austin powered my tractor. I don't know how I even managed that. Holy cow. So how have you been? Yeah, we got back on Easter Sunday, which was the original plan anyhow. One thing I would have probably done differently is I would have I would have moved more money out of our bank account so we couldn't have spent so much. That's really the main thing. I was like, holy cow. I mean, people go on vacation, and I get it. Things are you're going to go and you're going to spend money. All right. If you go on vacation, especially in a touristy area, you're going to spend some money. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, it's going to happen. You just got to get over it, right? So, yeah, I mean, we went, but yeah, if I could have done anything, it would have been like take less money, enjoy uh, more of the things that they have to offer, as far as nature's concerned. The airboats were fun. Weather was actually, when we first got down there, the first couple of days, the weather was sketch. We had some thunderstorms, so it kind of limited us to staying indoors. But yeah, had a couple of days that hit, I think, 98 one day, but most days were in the high 80s. All right. Now that we did that, I can go and purchase my next baler. I'm actually going to make all of this into hay that I just cut because I have plenty to make into silage. So we're going to use this guy, and we're going to set it up to 24 meters because I can. It's super slow. That's the only reason that I'm doing it into 24 meters. And I'm just going to purchase that. And there's a little thing about this baler. If you have never used um, it's in the hand liftable bales and pallets mod. The cool thing about this baler, like, is not so much that, but if you increase it to the larger size of bale, it actually makes it into a hay bale, and you don't have to rake it up at all. Um, these ones are all nice, but I just can't swing $165,000 yet. I will eventually. Actually, what I'll do is I'll wait for one to go on sale. I've been getting lots of updates. My nephew had open heart surgery yesterday. Uh, he was put on bypass for the surgery, and he's doing all right. He had a good night, so they're working on pain management right now for him. My sister doesn't want anybody outside of his immediate family, just because they're trying to limit exposure and possible infections. So really trying to keep it down to a bare minimum as to people that can see him right now, which I totally get. And uh, I'll get to go maybe this weekend and see him, which is kind of the hope. Um, Tomorrow's his birthday, actually. He gets to spend his 21st birthday in the hospital. Uh, and I'm like, just, you know, enjoy being pampered and all that good stuff. Uh, hoping that, he just takes it easy. So this baler is so slow. It's the only thing. It does in a way it sucks. Um, but he's he needed he needed to have the surgery. He was born with a heart condition with the valves of his heart. Um, and no, it's not. But he also didn't want to be 21 and get a heart transplant. Because then you're on uh anti uh what is it? Organ rejection meds for the rest of your life. So, um, you know, kind of have to take the good and the bad, you know. Unfortunately, you're right. You don't want to be there on your 21st birthday, but at the same time, he's never been a partier because, well, he's always had to be careful because of his heart. Um, the big thing is uh, getting this surgery done was so that, obviously we didn't have to think about getting, heart transplant at this stage of his life. And really, you only get one heart. If when it comes to transplants, most people don't get their transplant that they need. Um, he's still going to need a transplant eventually. Uh, you know, but when you're 21, you don't want some 60-year-old's heart. That heart's got a limited lifespan. It's already gone through 60 years. It might have 25 left. He doesn't want to be 45 and know he's on the end of the road. So trying to try and get him to, age 40, 45, and then get a new heart that's still got, 30, 40 years left on it. It's always a tough reality for a kid that's born with any sort of medical condition. But I'm like, hey, at least you know that you'll never be forced to go fight in some old man's war. I mean, that's always a possibility. I kind of thought about that and I'm like, well, the rest of our body will give out before that heart. And I'm like, so when we go, can you get a discount on a slightly used mechanical heart? They pull that thing out and they're like, well, no, it's still good. It's only got 10 years on it. It's still under warranty. I have never seen that movie. I've heard about it though. Uh, I was thinking the movie Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, where he's born a robot and he just starts uh, building these clocks, right? I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. And then eventually he starts changing himself into a human being as much as possible. Yeah, I never. Some of the things that I mean, I was talking to my sister, and some of the things that her son thinks about that I'm like, no 20-year-old should have to think about this. Is he is 20 and he's got a girlfriend, but when he his girlfriend, he was looking for someone very specific. He wants someone that doesn't want kids. He loves kids. He does not want to pass on a heart condition. So I'm like, no 20-year-old should have to be worrying about that. Um, Thinking about uh, having to pass a heart condition on to, their children. And I kind of feel, that part was like, that one was really hard for me um, to know that he's going through that thought process of, I don't want, I don't want I don't want to pass that on. I don't blame him either, but still, that's a tough pill to swallow at 20 years old and thinking, I I absolutely love kids. And he's so good with his little cousins and everything, and he loves playing with them. He loves horsing around with them, but he's already decided that he doesn't want to have kids for that one reason. And I'm like, that's a tough one. So it really kind of cut down on the amount of people that, he would match up with for a girlfriend or possible, life partner that doesn't want to have kids. Oh yeah, I mean, the male line in our family, it's my my dad's father, he died from a heart attack. Uh, my dad's brother died from a heart attack. My dad died from a heart attack. Um, I kind of know how this goes. My nephew's got a heart condition, which I'm fairly positive is passed on from, my line. My sister and I, we actually have quite healthy hearts. Uh, my dad's sister has a bad heart. So yeah, but it also comes down to, um, my dad, he grew up, on the son of an Irish farmer, and their diets were terrible. Yeah, they'd eat vegetables, but everything was fried in grease or had a really high fat content so that they could have the energy to work on a farm. That's bad for your heart. So my dad was 69, his dad was 61, his brother was 63. So yeah, they're still relatively young. I mean, my dad's, as far as the siblings go, he's only had two siblings make it to the age of 80. One passed away, one has since passed, but that was his oldest sister. But yeah, I mean, majority of our family, you know, we kind of have an idea. Like his other brother, was diabetic and uh, he's passed away. He made it, I think, 270 when he passed away. He's got another brother that we're all surprised he's still alive. Why do I have this feeling it's quickly becoming not your cat? What? What do you mean that bale's not supported? There's about to be a fight. Hmm. All right, well, what do we got available here? What can I afford is the real question. I want that. That's the one I want. Oh well, I don't like this trailer anyways. We'll start with the smaller one. Yeah, it's your cat when the mess needs cleaned up. It's her cat when there's affection to be shown. My wife just heard me. She's like, rude. But yeah, I have the same cat. How is it rude if it's true? Haha. How many times have you emptied your cat's litter box? Exactly. Not just litter box, there's two of them. I don't know. I changed a lot with Sully. I think my wife's justification on the litter box thing is that the litter box gets put into the trash, and apparently the trash is my job. Yeah, she likes that. That's what she's just said to me. Aren't you supposed to be working? Yeah, that's people poop. That's how you manage to change diapers. It doesn't smell like straight up ammonia and cat piss. Do I have enough to buy my trailer now? No, I don't. How is that possible? All right, let's let's put this away. Now, I'm fine with most things. I don't do well with vomit, like like pure vomit. That will make me gag. Like if my kids get sick, I'm like, no, I can't. I mean, I will say I've gotten better with it, but yeah, I still struggle with puke. I still like to tell the story of the time one of our kids had he jumped over a baby gate, landed on a toy, and split his knee wide open, and um, just blood's gushing out, right? And uh, my first thought was, you know, stop the blood. So I'm like, I was sitting there. I told my wife, go grab a towel. We need a towel or a rag or something. Stop the blood. She comes back. She starts cleaning it off the floor. I'm like, I need something for his leg so that we can take him to the ER. So yeah, when it yeah after I stopped the bleeding, you took him to the ER. She just called me an ass. Well, I was always aware I was an ass. All right, what do we got left? I wonder if we got any eggs. Well, there's no carpet to worry about. It was it was in our dining room on fake hardwood floors that were vinyl. I mean, we do make a pretty good team though. We had that good cop, bad cop thing down perfectly. Only difference is I'm not really playing bad cop. I think I might just be bad cop. My kids have learned though, if you, with me at least, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes, and I will be quick to point out that you were awarded a stupid prize. Ain't that the truth? I hope those bales are supported on this. Oh yeah, my kids get lectured on manners probably more than they want. I'll remind them. I don't care if it's the 5-year old or the 16-year old. I'm like, it's yes, please. No, thank you. We we don't we don't sass grandpa and grandma. Whenever our kids go places, it's like the report we always get back with from like their friends' parents is, "Oh, your kids are so nice and they're so polite." And I'm like, "Yeah, because if we get a different report than that, they know they're going to lose some privileges." So yeah, that better be the only report that we get from your friends' parents. That you're polite and you say please and thank you and yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir. And I'll let more slide when it comes to myself because I like to, especially with my older ones, I like to tease them and pick on them because I thrive off of that, and I'm okay with them giving it back to me a little bit. That's fine, perfectly acceptable. And that's just with me. Like it's not okay for them to do it to other people. They need to sit there and show respect to others. Yeah, I know that, yeah, we experienced that too. I've heard the excuse. Well, they're trying to learn how to use sarcasm. Don't use sarcasm on adults. If you're trying to learn how to use it on your friends. They're much less likely to take offense when you don't know what you're saying. Oh yeah. Now my 14-year-old, as all 14-year-olds do, he will tell you he knows everything. And I like to, you know, I like to let him believe, you know everything that every 14-year-old knows, which is basically nothing. Kids, especially teenagers, they forget. We were teenagers once too. And there's a saying, the nut doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, in my kids, you know, I had never drawn an unemployment check until in my life until 2020. Um, and that was because the company I worked for used COVID as a way to uh, slash wages. And I told them, no, just let me go. Like, I worked way too hard for you to take 20% of my pay. I'm like, I'm not going to work for you guys to lose money to pay daycare. I was only making, after childcare and car payments and all that stuff, I was only bringing home about 200 to $300 a month. But I had the insurance. Well, my wife had just, we just switched over to her insurance, and I started watching the kids. The difference was really no difference. So I got to know my kids better. And I'm like, no, you guys aren't gonna cut my. And the thing was, is they were cutting all salaried employees at the time that made more than $50,000. And they're like, if you make more than 50,000, we're cutting your wages 20%. And they said to weather the storm, they were making hand over fist because of um the market they were in. Everyone all of a sudden needed them. So they were just cutting wages to maximize their profits. And I wasn't having it. They didn't fight me too much. And they tried, but I was like, nope, because I only made 51.6, so they were cutting my wages by, instead of knocking me down to 49,999, they decided, no, we're taking the full 20% so that you're losing about 13,000 a year. I was like, no, that's not working for me. I'm like, I would have sacrificed, down to that point of, you know, $50,000. I would have been fine, making that sacrifice. I wasn't okay dropping down to, you know, 40,000, because that didn't make any sense to me. The logic, their logic, to them, it was perfectly sensible. To me, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I've been here 17 years and I'm only making 51,000. I sort of wish more people would have saw it the way I saw it. Oh yeah, it is. It's an extreme amount of money, you know, 20%. Yeah, they didn't see it like that. They saw it as, well, everyone's got to sacrifice. And I'm like, for what? I'm like, you guys are making hand over fist now because you have the bulk of the market for this very, I mean, it was never strategic up until now, but now all of a sudden, when people are, being sent home to work from home, you guys, you guys basically hit the jackpot. It was like the perfect storm. They were preying on everybody. I mean, I'll put up with a lot of crap. Don't get me wrong, I will. But when it comes to the income and my family, having to make great sacrifices like that, I'm not going to do that for some corporate greed. My kids aren't going to suffer because they want more and they expect my kids to have less. That makes no sense to me. I mean, they were okay with doing this because the C-suite guys, they didn't they were like, oh, well, we're all having to do this. We're all having to sacrifice even up here. And I'm like, you guys only pay yourselves $50,000 as it is. So because the bulk of your um, compensation is through stock options. So you're not really losing anything. You're losing $10,000 on your earnings, but you were still making so much money because your compensation package is all um, wrapped up in stock options. Why can't my why couldn't mine be wrapped up in stock options, you know? Corporate greed is the worst thing. Ah, that's fine. I'll match it with poor grammar. How's that? Yep, no arguments here. We see it every day too. But it doesn't seem to kill the greedy people. It kills the people who are having to sustain that greed, the little people. Currently breaking one of my rules. I'm like, okay, I got to steer away from controversy. Got to steer away, steer away. Uh, hey, I got a question for you about Farming Simulator here, real quick. Have you used the um? I want to do three different productions. And have you used any of them? Uh, I want to do a rock quarry. I want to try the coal and oh no, it's perfectly fine. No, it's not that. Um, I could go on all day. Um, but I just don't want to I don't want to push other people away from watching my videos uh if I can help it. Not I know a lot of people don't want to they come here for enjoyment, not for everything else. And while I don't have a problem with it, I know some people do. I like to make it a place where people can enjoy, get it's an escape from real life, right? But I want to do coal. I uh want to do rocks, a rock quarry, and oil rigs. There's three things that I've activated mods for on this map. And have you used any of them? Okay, so you do have to make it into lime. Okay, so it's not just a straight up, um, not straight up a big earner. Got it. Yeah, I'm really debating on the oil rigs because they're so expensive for one, and you need more than one. Everyone I've seen do oil, they don't they don't stop with one because it's just financially the investment is so much. And what is it? It's over 100. I think after you do all of it, I think it's right roughly it's under factories. Oil was it 75,000? Oh no, it's 100,000. And that's for the small one. Oh no. Oh, and you have to put in barrels. Hey, what's going on there, Logan? Yeah, 100 grand for one oil rig and it doesn't produce enough. Yeah, the reason I was thinking about rocks is I have this rock shelf right here, and I'm like, that would be so cool to do a rock quarry right there. I mean, it's more aesthetic than anything else. But I don't want to invest, however much into a rock quarry and never be able to make that money back. Like, I don't mind spending the money, but if it never earns it back, what was the point? I could have used that money on something else. I purposely stayed away from apples on this. Um, Hello, how you doing today? So yeah, he had a good night. He They're still working on pain management, but I mean, they opened up his whole chest cavity, so yeah, I imagine he's in a fair amount of pain, but yeah, he had a good night. My sister was messaging our group, so yeah, he's got he's off the blood pressure machine. They're slowly taking him off of machines and equipment, obviously. But yeah, he's doing well, all things considered. Oh, do you have a you don't have a console like an uh, Xbox or PlayStation? Bacon, I'm trying to remember. Do you do do you do PC? Yeah, I use an old actually I have an older um it's an HP Victus gaming laptop and it does a pretty good job. Uh if you're inclined to look, you can pick one up on eBay for about between $300 and $500. So an older one. So there's a map I think you should download. It's third party. I got it on Mod Network, uh, and it's called Last Island, and it's a grind. I'm telling you, huge grind. But it's by it was created by a YouTuber called Southern Straw, and all it is this basically um, it's a store is all it starts off as, and you have to build your island in the middle of the ocean. And I've been playing it for the last few days. I'm really hoping that uh, Southern Straw submits it to Giants to see if it can't get put onto uh, Mod Hub, and that way it can become cross-play. See, I never played 17. I played 22 and 25. I never tried I really thought 19 actually still has some appeal to it. I thought about downloading that. Hmm, excuse me. And I found a few like farming type of things on Roblox because my kids all my younger two my 9-year-old really loves Roblox and he's like, "Hey, will you play some Roblox?" I don't I don't like Roblox. But for my kids I'll try to do anything for them. And um I found a few different farming games on Roblox that um most PCs can run. So if that's an option for you too, if you're just looking for, any sort of farming experience. I think there's also one American Farmer, which is I think that's on the App Store and on the Android store that you can play on mobile. Yeah, no problem. So I've never really been one to try and collect things in this. Because I'm so into the farming aspect of it. I really should look into some of the other ideas, like collecting, uh, the hidden objects and stuff like that that are placed in the maps. I really should start looking into that. It's kind of like a side quest, but to me, you get too much money. I remember back in the 90s, um, I would play Sim Farm. Gosh, that just dated me. Um, Sim Farm on old PC, and I'm talking like 486 DX, um, with an old CRT monitor. I'm not a young buck, that's for sure. Yeah, my brother and I, he would play Sim City, like Sim City 2000, and I would play Sim Farm. It was so much fun. Those old retro games, I mean, you cannot convince me that uh, there's not still elite. I mean, I used to play Asheron's Call, right? I will. Okay, well, thanks for stopping in and chatting. No, I gotta go get my kids. I'll be right back. Um, the older ones had a half day, but it started in the later half of the day. So I've got to go wake him up. I know, 10 o'clock. I gotta wake a kid up. Seriously, I've had nothing 10 minutes.
10 minutes starting now.
All right, I'm back. I have to go and wake him up again in another 10 minutes. Holy cow. I have only got $800 left. How'd that happen? Let me know when you get back, Bacon. I gotta find out how my audio is coming through. I'm looking for a microphone. I'm actually trying to get my wife to get me one on TikTok through her free samples. I have, TikTok shop as well that I can sell on, but she's much further along than I am on it. Logan, you still out there, bud? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Mine did this morning too. Hmm? Why did my throat hurt? Because we left Florida, came back to Michigan, and it's a difference of over 50 degrees, and there's a lot of pollen and things like that. One thing that will help is if you go stand out on the deck for a few minutes and get that fresh air will help break some of that up and start clearing out that discomfort. Yeah. Did you shower last night? Okay. Track meet starts at 4. Okay. Do you have shorts for running? Let me see. Do you need short ones? I have a pair of longer ones. I'll be right back, guys. Some spaghetti before school so you get a carb boost for your track meets? I could. I mean, this is one. You think an hour after. Yeah. So I can just come home, have some spaghetti and go. Oh gosh. Hey, I'm back too. I had to go and help a kid find stuff. He's got his first track meet tonight after school, and he's only got a half day, so weird half day. Starts at his day starts at like 11:15. So he's getting them around right now. Just gave him a pair of shorts because he's like he doesn't like the shorts that he had because they were too short, he says. I'm like, it's track meet, dude. All shorts are relatively short. How come spikes for track are so expensive? Seriously. Specialized shoes are ridiculous. I mean, none of them are as bad as basketball shoes, though. Um, um, I so here's what I do with football cleats. Because I don't, my oldest doesn't play football. Um, he likes things like cross country and track because he can do that without relying on someone else. Um, whereas my 14-year-old loves team sports. We spend on basketball shoes in a year for our 14-year-old well over $400. Um, Cleats for football, I've I started scouring Goodwill in the spring months when football's over and people are clearing out their house, doing their spring cleaning, and they just go and donate them. I just started scouring Goodwills, and that's how I've done football cleats. My 14-year-old didn't play last year, uh, or for eighth grade. He played seventh grade football and suffered a concussion in the last game, and he didn't like that. So he decided he didn't want to play football, but now he's thinking he wants to play high school football, mostly because he envisions himself as a future star. Hold on, I'll be right back and I'll finish that. My 14-year-old, I think, envisions himself as a star running back because his school actually has a star running back who just signed his letter of intent this last spring. He's a senior. Just signed his letter of intent to go play uh, football for uh, University of Kansas. and I think my son likes that idea. I don't. I try to be realistic with him on this sort of thing. It's like, dude, this kid's dad played for football for uh, Michigan State University, and um, his brother plays football for Bowling Green, and his mom played uh, Division 1 sport as well, and his sister plays a Division 1 sport. I'm like, genetically, this family is um, basically genetically produces athletes. They have an advantage over our family. But, I try to keep them more grounded and realistic that, work hard in school. You're more likely to get an academic scholarship than you are an athletic scholarship. Yeah, Kansas is definitely a good school. Um, it's kind of sad that Michigan State did not really put as much into trying to recruit him, uh, especially because it was a legacy. His, with his dad having played at Michigan State. Um, so it was really it's kind of sad that Michigan State didn't put more of an effort into it to try and keep him locally. But I get it. Michigan State's football program over the last few years has been nothing but a complete cluster. Oh, yeah. My kid's actually about to start physical therapy because he has an ankle problem with strength in his ankles. So he's actually going to be uh, starting a physical therapy, which he's probably not going to be all that happy about. They're going to work him hard to try and strengthen it because he's been in twice on the same ankle um, within 10 months, having actually, it's not even that. It was since August. He's been in a boot twice for blowing out his or rolling it so severely and spraining it so severely that he was in a boot on crutches for 2 weeks at a time. And they're like, this is just going to keep happening. He needs physical therapy. So yeah, he's about to get I think, a rather rude awakening on the idea of hard work because they're going to run him pretty hard on strengthening this ankle up. But like I said, he's 14. He knows it all. Now, his travel basketball league he was in last year, um, he really started towards the uh, um, latter part of the season and really started learning how to really truly play basketball. Um, and I saw it, and you know, he just excuse me. He had it took him a long time to really um, buy into the the coaches know best. Um, he's he's a good athlete. He his focus where he excels was defensively and uh, rebounding. So he really had to stop trying to be the jump shooting 3 point guy. Um, he has a nice little baseline spin move that he, I don't think it wasn't, how do I say it? It wasn't as exciting as draining a three or that sort of, you know, star player thing. A good baseline move is hard to defend, and it took him half a season to start to realize that. Uh, Using the backboard with these kids is so hard to teach them to use the backboard. I'm like, go, you know, yeah, I know it's not fancy, but Tim Duncan was one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA, and he used the backboard because he was fundamentally sound. His technique was flawless. It helped that he was 7 foot, but he was never the greatest athlete, the fastest, the best jumper. Um, but his fundamentals were perfect. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm from Michigan. I know all about Rodman from the start of his career with the Pistons. And we were just starting to get a glimpse of the craziness that was Dennis Rodman. I mean, he was one of the oldest drafted players ever. People don't realize he was dominating when he was in his late 30s and into his very early 40s, he was still dominating. But Rodman was built different, just was. Um, when he was early in his career with Detroit, they said that he would squat down, put his squat down with the ball behind him at half court and pick the ball up while it was behind him and fling it. And uh, he could, he didn't, obviously it wasn't accurate, but he could throw the ball half court that way. His dexterity and flexibility were just ridiculous. And I still have to have the argument to this day that LeBron is not the GOAT. Jordan will always be the GOAT. I mean, LeBron started playing basketball in the NBA 3 years younger than Jordan. Um, Never had the, you know, Jordan had 1 year that was lost to injury, I think his second or third year in the league. And that was the only year that he did not win the scoring title for like and I think Dominic Wilkins or Alex English won it that year. I can't remember which guy. It was one of those two. And I mean, we're talking, just the amount of the differences between Jordan. Jordan was a phenomenal defensive player. LeBron's average at best. I mean, yeah, it's the mindset of a teenager, and then, I hear about, how Steph Curry's the greatest point guard, and I'm like, dude, you never watched Isaiah Thomas. Um, you never experienced Magic Johnson. You can watch highlights, but highlights don't tell a story of a career. Uh, Larry Bird for 6 years was quite possibly the most dominant player in the NBA. Yeah, when you're 7'1", 300 pounds, and you can lead the break, it's kind of an amazing thing. See, I was never a McHale fan, but I'm from Michigan. Boston was our bitter enemy. You know, they had McHale, we had Lambeer. McHale and Lambeer, the comparison between those two guys is actually unreal when you just start looking at the numbers. Lambeer was always labeled as a dirty player. McHale was not, but he was just as dirty. But Larry Bird, man, as much as I wanted to hate the dude because he played for Boston, you just had to you just had to sit back and absorb what a great player he was. And people don't people say McHale wasn't dirty, but he really was. Uh, he did the same things that Lambeer did, but that whole Detroit team, I mean, you had some of the nastiest players to ever play the game all in one group, Rick Mahorn, James Edwards, uh, John Sally, Bill Lambier, Isaiah Thomas, um, John Long. I mean, none of these guys backed down from a fight. Where Bird didn't really get into many fights. Danny Ainge didn't really get into into it with people. Oh yeah, I mean, Lambier was an absolute prick, but his teammates loved him. But I do remember that time he got rocked by Robert Parrish. I mean, just absolutely destroyed. But people forget too, Detroit had James Edwards and Rick Mahorn on that front line, And those dudes were just those guys were those guys were tough. Yeah. Yeah. Only guy in NBA I think ever could compare to Bird when it comes to talking trash was probably Garnett. Garnett was Garnett was just when he was on the court, just that switch flipped, man. I and just absolutely ruthless. And I mean the bad boys though they fell apart when uh, the NBA expanded and they added what was it, Toronto and Vancouver, and they left Mahorn unprotected because you can only protect 8 guys, and Mahorn was the odd man out, and I mean he was the heart and soul of that bad boy persona. Showtime Lakers was just so fun to watch. Thompson, Cooper, Worthy, Magic. At that point, Kareem was just a 7 foot two, you know, hook shot at that point. He wasn't he wasn't part of prime time. I mean, he was there. He was a benefactor of prime time. But yeah, just imagine how much better the Lakers would have been if they did not have Kareem in the way. I mean, as much as that sounds silly to say, they would have they would have won 8 straight championships if they didn't have that aging superstar. Hold on 1 second. I got to make sure kid's getting ready. Sorry about that. I didn't know I thought I left it, turned that off. Oh yeah. And I don't know if it was so much that. I think it was, he had to evolve his game. He couldn't just be, you know, eventually the athleticism fades. Um, Once you get to a certain point, I mean, yeah, the athleticism starts to fade, the health starts to fade. That that ability to develop that hook shot, the sky hook, extended his career, but the worst thing about Kareem was he evolved his game like that. It gave them another option, but it slowed down Showtime. Kareem kept the league competitive because if he weren't there, the rest of that team could make any opponent just run out of gas. They just run them up and down the court. You couldn't do that for 48 minutes as if playing against that team. So I guess in a way, Kareem kept the league competitive. Because I mean, the guy still averaged 24 points a game or whatever during showtime, but it was majority just skyhooks. And I've always loved watching the Pistons because they're just such a blue collar um, type thing. Even the bad boys were considered blue collar. Uh, but looking back on the bad boys, as talented as Isaiah Thomas was, he he kind of these days he kind of comes off as a bit of a weasel. Like like he never owned up to the owned up or took accountability for things. Um, but man, so talented. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of started to realize that, part of the problem in Detroit was Isaiah. He was the ringleader, but he Lambeer took the blame. We're doing all right on fertilizer. We're not doing great, but we should be able to finish this field. Oh, I miss the good old days of sports. The 80s and 90s were, the NBA was just so good. Football, um, I mean, it's good that they've started taking, player safety seriously, you know, uh, especially in football and hockey. Uh, but I really kind of miss the bench clearing brawls of the NBA and Major League Baseball, or how it was expected part of the game that, a guy like Kenny Rogers in baseball, if you got too close to the plate, him and Clemens, they would let you know. They just there's that mentality's gone. That's what I loved about, professional sports back in the day is, these guys they would definitely be okay with plunking a guy in baseball if he got too close to the plate. Today, they're scared of it. Well, most of them are. I mean, Nolan Ryan getting in a fist fight with Robin Ventura, still one of the greatest moments I've ever seen. Oh, I'm getting near that point where I'm going to have to get off this live stream. I got to get the kids organized. This whole half day thing where it starts late morning, this has thrown me off. Well, I think a lot of it stems from, your playing career is limited. The amount of time you can play is very limited. And so there's a such a small window of earning major money. And, you know, players 20, 30 years ago, there was a lot of, ownership brainwashing that whole uh, generation of athletes to say, you know, everything is for the good of the team. Well, then people were like, wait a minute, why am I doing this to myself so that I get no benefit from it later on? I mean, that whole situation with back in the 80s where the uh, teams were colluding to not have free agency because teams knew that once free agency started, it was going to cut into their profits. And now you see teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Miami Marlins where they're like, I'm going to spend as little money as I possibly can because revenue sharing is going to be like a little ATM to me. And you have teams like the Mets and the Dodgers and Yankees who are like, we're going to spend everything we can because winning, we'll lose money on the team, but we're going to make money on the winning through merchandise and all that. I mean, I feel a bit bad for teams like or fans like um, Pirates fans. They're never going to win a World Series again. The A's, they'll never win another World Series. It's unfortunate, but it's exactly how it's gonna how it's how it is now. Yep. Let me see. All these teams that are saying, "Oh, we can't afford to spend with the Yankees." They can. They can all afford it. But to them, it's more important to get their revenue sharing because they don't spend with the Yankees. They don't care that they're not going to win a title ever again. I mean, they don't. They, I mean, I think the owner of the A's has actually come out and said, I don't care what the fans think. I've got a baseball team that I can make a lot of money off of." Yeah, I'm broke again. That's all right. This means I'll have to probably finish planting this manually because I want it to do the rolling for me. I don't want to roll. And I might have to do that, finish that off. But I'll sell a couple bales of hay if I have to and earn enough money to get them to do the work for me. Yeah, I was gonna produce videos while on vacation, and I was having so much audio issues with for I don't know why, but I was having issues audio with my audio. Um, I was like, well, I'm not gonna, I don't want to put out crappy videos just to put out a video, you know? And I thought I had the problem solved, and then I went and by the third video, I was like, okay, I got that one all the way through. I didn't have issues. like the first two. So I thought I had it solved. So I recorded another one and it was right back to having issues again. And I was like, are you kidding me? So frustrating. But um, live streams, I seem to be doing just fine. So I don't know what was happening, but whatever was happening was really frustrating me. I'll get that put in there in a bit. Need to go and sell a few bales. Be right back. Down to my last 60 bucks. We're gonna make it. 35. Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. Yep, $480 again. We're rich. I think I got three more round bales I can go grab. And find something to sell. Because I have to load that planter up again. It's not going to make a lot, but we're going to get about 900 bucks, which will hopefully feed the rest of this. Yeah, so we got track meet tonight, so that starts at 4. So I'll go drop the kid off to school, take him to his track meet after, well, it's a home meet at least. I kind of want, I don't really want to go. It's only like 40 degrees out. I'm old. I'm old. I don't want to be in the cold. All right. Well, at least we got that all cleaned up. I need a good auto load method with pallets. I don't like the, I don't like most of them. Most of the methods. I need a good pallet auto loading setup. 22 had a really nice one. Oh, Nugget would have been so mad if he'd seen what I had for eggs just sitting there. There's so many of them. I mean, I got them for the most part. I got them all cleaned up, but I had like 70 some $1,000 worth of eggs just sitting in a big old pile. He's like, you can't save eggs for a whole year. I'm like, this is a game. Sure, I can. Uh, but you know what? He's right to, uh, you know, he's right because there should be the expectation that, we're respecting how food actually works. No, it's a realism thing. I get it. But I also was like, I want the max price. But at the same time, I start thinking about it and I'm like, these things are in my way. Got to get them out of my way. Like I almost had this, like they were out to like here in this little area here. I had them out to, and I was like, man, I'm closing up my path, and oh, so I finally had to just sell them because I was like starting to hit them when I was driving through that area. How's the other? How are we doing over here? Typically, I'd sleep because it's getting dark. I have problems. I have so much candy at my desk. I mean, it's jelly bean season. What do people expect from me? So, answer me this: when it's this time of year, and you're like, ooh, jelly beans. What do you do with the black jelly beans? Myself, I buy bags of just black jelly beans because they're my favorite. But I'm curious what other people do because a couple of my kids just throw them away, and I'm like, dude, why'd you do that? I'd eat them. But there's really only two groups of people when it comes to the black jelly beans. It's those that are like, they're my favorite, or they're the most disgusting thing in the world. No, that's fair. I have a whole bag of them in front of me, and I'm kind of annoyed that there's not a single, like, I don't know what it is about Brock's jelly beans now, but they, um, for this year, I haven't been able to find a single bag of jelly beans that had um, uh, black licorice flavored uh, jelly beans in the bag with the fruity ones. Only, only the spiced jelly beans have the black licorice ones in them. Yeah, my 16-year-old loves them. He and I are the two in the house that we love them. I kind of compare the um, the black licorice jelly beans to green olives. You either you either hate them or you love them. There's no in between, and I love both. I need therapy. Well, no kidding. That sounds like something a therapist would say. Trying to drum up some business. Oh, let me see. Oh, yeah, I probably do need therapy. But who doesn't these days? Yeah, I'm the only one in my entire house that likes green olives. I like I like black olives. I do not like the Kalamata olives. They kind of have a sweet flavor, and I do not like any sort of pickled item that is sweet, with the exception of a pickled beet. I love me some pickled beets too. Oh no, I love black olives. I do not like the Kalamata olives. They're kind of like that brownish purple color. They kind of have a sweet flavor to them. I just don't like that. No, I love the black olives. They kind of have that meaty texture to them. Very salty, not so pickled. Well, yes, I do enjoy pineapple on pizza from time to time. Depends. Depends on the on other factors. Pizza's a tough one for me. Um, I don't like super oily pizzas, so I don't generally get pepperoni, but or greasy pizzas. Um, my favorite pizza is uh ham, ground beef, and black olive. I like a thicker crust and a not sweet pizza sauce. Can't I can't do I can't have like a super sugary sauce. A lot of them are really sugary. I mean, probably if I'm going to like a chain, um, uh, if I'm looking for a quick pizza, it's gonna be like Little Caesars. It'll never be Domino's, and it'll never be Papa John's. There's just too much sugar in their sauce. What time is it? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go take kid someplace real quick. So I'm gonna hop off for a bit. Probably for the best anyways. Oh, but thanks for hanging out with me. We'll continue the discussion on food because that's one of my favorite topics. Um, but yeah, meat on pizza is the way to go. How come every time you're in the channel, we wind up talking on my live stream, we talk about food? Now I'm hungry. Between you and Nugget, all I want to do is eat when I'm doing live stream. Food brings people together. That's what I got to remember. All right. Well, we'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging out with me.